Rosings is Lady Catherine de Bourgh's place. He was received, these are quotes now, he was received by Mrs. Bennet with a degree of civility which made her two daughters ashamed, especially when contrasted with the cold, serious politeness of her courtesy and address to his friend. Elizabeth, particularly, who that her mother owed to the latter, so that's when Mrs. Bennet was being rude to Darcy. I do assure you that I'm not one of those young ladies. And that's Elizabeth when Mr. Collins proposes to her. I must confess that I could never see beauty in her face. Her face is too thin, her complexion has no brilliancy, and her features are not all handsome, Mr. Darcy. I've been selfish all my whole life in practice, not in principle. As a child, I was taught that I was right, but I was not taught to correct my temper. That was Mr. Darcy. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be in want of a wife. Miss Elizabeth said that. What do you think of my husband? Is he not a charming man? And that's Lydia being bratty after eloping with Wickham. At present, I am not in love, Mr. Wickham. I am certainly not, but he's beyond all comparison the most agreeable man I've ever saw. Elizabeth. Engaged to Mr. Collins, my dear Charlotte, impossible. Elizabeth was grossed out. From the very beginning, for a moment, I almost say my acquaintance with you, your manners impressing me with the fullest belief of arrogance, your conceit, and your selfish disdain. And that was Elizabeth rejecting Darcy. Good gracious, Lord bless me. Only think, dear me, Mr. Darcy. Who would have thought? Is it really true? Oh, my sweetest Lizzie, how rich and great you will be, Mr. Bennet. Happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance. If the dispositions of the parties are also well known to each other, or ever so beforehand, it does not advance for the felicity, at least. Charlotte Lucas.